James, all right, I want the list. What bands are you in right now?
Oh man, I knew you were going to ask me this, and what I should have done was written them all down. Right, okay, let's have a go. Domestics, obviously, Pisser, Tokyo Lungs, Hazard Profile, Cord Wild, the solo stuff that I'm doing, Botched Toe, Disc Tank. What's that? I'm sure there's more than that.
Soft G somewhere.
I'm not in that band. I don't know who thinks that I'm in that band. That's nothing to do with me. I'm not a rock and roll man frog, so that's definitely not me.
Okay.
Even if people do say it is. Do you know, I have a feeling that I've missed one. I think I've missed one or two, but at least 8. At least 8.
At least 8, and so many different projects running. Oh, did you you mentioned the Domestics first, so we're good.
I can remember that.
The obvious one. Yes. How did you decide to get involved with so many different bands?
Bring the Drones, that's another one. Actually, weirdly, it was saying that was the one I just thought of, and actually that was the one that kind of set the ball rolling, really. Because when Charlie asked me to basically do some vocals on the second Bring the Drones album, and I went out to Sweden to do all that stuff, and I knew Charlie a bit already anyway, but I got to know him a lot more. And he's a guy that does lots of different projects over the years. He doesn't really do any touring bands particularly. He's kind of in his 50s now. He doesn't particularly want to do it, sleeping on floors and stuff like we're all still doing. But I just thought, well, perhaps I'll do another project with Charlie. And then we ended up doing Pisser with him and Bry from Doom and the various others. I don't know, I just get ideas. The problem is, I thought of another one. There's a new one that me and Matt Woods are doing called The Groins. I just got the masters back for the 7-inch today. So that's definitely 10, isn't it? I mean, you're in double figures now.
Yep.
Yep. I don't know, for me, most of those bands, not all of them, not Hazard Profile, and I think maybe one of the others, but most of them I write a lot of the music and most of the lyrics and stuff like that from, and it's just that I have so many ideas and I have to go somewhere. It's kind of like that. I tend to write during the day when I'm at work. Songs will pop into my head and riffs and structures and things like that, and some of them I forget, which tends to be an indicator that they're perhaps not as good, and then I generally demo maybe half of them, and then some of those will survive and some won't, but it's just constant and I can't switch it off. So it's kind of, I just have to get them out there somewhere. I always feel like they have to have a home, so otherwise it feels like a waste otherwise. Well,
yes, you've got to get that creativity out, and with the variety of the creativity, you have a variety of bands that suit each style that you've come up with, so
absolutely,
it works.
Yeah, no, I think there's no point in doing 10 bands that are all the same. There'd be no point. And my music taste has always been really, really varied. So the fact that I'm able to do sort of really, really bare bones hardcore with Tokyo Lungs, with Domestic, something similar but with a few sort of tweaks with a bit more of a Japanese influence as well, and then something with Pisser. So it's all obviously people who've been doing DB for like 20 or 30 years, more than that even, but then adding the saxophone and a little bit of weirdness with that's a bit different, and then Hazard Profile with the sort of power violency bits, and I like to mix it up. The solo record is, I think people are going to be quite shocked when they hear that, to be honest. That's very, very different from all of those bands.
Yeah. And you don't just have your creative streak when it comes to the music business. You also have a label and distro, and that's been very busy lately. Tell us a bit more about KIBOU Records.
Yeah, it has been actually. I mean, the most recent thing that's come out on KIBOU has been Las Ratapunk, 7-inch, which has been really, really, really popular. That's done very well. What else have we recently put out? Brittles and Crim Tank split 7-inch. Because it's not all bands that I'm in. Obviously, quite a few of them I tend to try. When I'm in a band that's putting out a record, I try to put some KIBOU sort of stamp or some involvement with it, because I think it's kind of shows that you're putting your money where your mouth is, as well as expecting others to as well. Yeah. I don't really feel like it's quite in the DIY spirit to go, okay, I've made a record, now somebody else needs to take it on, so even if I just put in sort of 20 or 30% of what it needs, then I'll put that in and then get other labels to do it. So I've lost my thread now. Oh, about the label. Yeah, that was it. We've got next record we've got coming up is an album by a hardcore band from Barcelona called Negativo. That's members of Extortion and several other bands as well. And I've got quite a few things at the pressing plant as well. As you probably know, pressing plants at the moment have such a backlog. It's absurd. So I've got. I'm co-releasing the Botched Toe album, which I'm in Botched Toe with Dan Flanagan from Matildas and Haste, and James, who was also in Matildas, and Marcus, who's also in Hazard Profile. It's all quite incestuous, really.
That is the DIY scene. It is incredibly incestuous.
Who do I know that would be good at doing this? I know. I'll give him a call. Yeah, it's very much that kind of spirit, really. That's happening. So did the Botched Toe. Also, Loose Nukes from Texas. I'm putting their album out alongside. I'm working with so many different labels, I can never remember who's doing what. I think alongside Cymex Records and Kangaroo Records. So we're putting that out. But all of these things are taking like 8 months to press. It's really quite difficult when you're a little DIY label. And you're all people with ordinary jobs. No one's making any money out of this, You're essentially putting money in to do interesting projects, to get the music out there, and you want to recoup. That's essentially, if you recoup, you've done all right, because you're not selling albums like indie bands do in the high street for 25 quid a pop. You're selling them for 12, 13 quid, That idea of sort of keeping it accessible to people, and not making money too much of a barrier,
Exactly, yeah.
So, when you're doing that and the price of pressing vinyl is going up all the time, and most of the pressing plants are abroad, and now obviously because of Brexit we're paying through the nose. Every time a parcel arrives you're slapped with a massive VAT bill as well. It's got to the point when I just don't know how much longer labels are going to be able to put out albums at 12 and 13 pounds, even DIY labels, or 7 inches for 5. I mean, when I first started doing 7 inches I was putting them out for 4 quid. That was like 8 or 9 years ago, and since that time I've gradually had to put them up to £5. But there's labels out there doing them for 6 already, and it won't be that. I'm not far behind. And actually even small runs, some of the pressing plants are now saying, we're not really bothered about doing 300 7 inches, we won't do them anymore. So you have to be really sure. If you're going to do 500 of something, you have to be pretty sure that you're going to sell at least most of them, at some point.
Otherwise you're just
no one wants
pissing in the wind
under the bed,
Exactly.
That's just me being skint for the next 6 months, so.
That's not a good thing, because that just stops the DIY scene going.
Absolutely. It stops you putting out more records, it stops you taking on more projects, it means you have to say no more than you'd like to. I mean, I get sent stuff, bands message me weekly now, several times a week, saying, do you want to listen to this, would you be interested in help me put it out? And I have to say that 99% of the time I say no. And it's not always because I don't like it or I don't think it's quite good enough. Sometimes it's because I've just paid out for that one. I'm not going to see anything back on that for 8 months, and nothing's going to come back on that for 5 months. And, I'm not a bottomless pit. I'm just an ordinary guy trying to pay the mortgage and pay the bills. So
just put out a few records at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's and the whole thing of pre-ordering. I was really never into that at the start.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it now, you're really shooting yourself in the foot in a way, because through pre-orders that helps you get some money back in the kitty 4, 5, 6 weeks earlier, and it's vital to do it,
Exactly, it's how you pay for things.
Absolutely, yeah. And with the increasingly lengthy pressing times, it's the whole idea of doing a DIY label is just, you'd have to look at yourself and go, why am I doing this? This is insane. Why am I doing it?
It's a labor of passion.
It absolutely is, yeah. And you have to really want to do it to do it. Yeah. I like doing it. Some days I when I'm really busy, I've had a stressful day at work, I'm like, oh no, I've got to do this, or I've got to approve some artwork, or I've got to label these files properly to send to the plant, or these kind of things. But someone's got to do it, so it might as well be me.
Why not? So what's going to happen next? What do you have in the pipeline?
Next, well, we've got this gig today in Hastings with the Domestics, and then we well, basically because we've been turning everything down really for the last year because of COVID, and because the whole of 2019 we just saw gigs and tours drop off the calendar one by one over the months, and we just said, look, let's not book anything much up, because if we do, we could be in the same position, and it's really depressing. Just go, oh, you've got this coming up. Oh no, that one's now gone, and that one's gone. So we booked hardly anything. Wotsit Called Festival we're doing because we were supposed to play it last year and obviously got cancelled. So we say, well, okay, if you're redoing that, we'll do it. We did one in Ipswich on Wednesday with Rash Decision and Jodie Faster, because they're basically doing a 3-band tour with Pizza Tramp, but Pizza Tramp couldn't do that one. I'm assuming it's because Jim couldn't get the day off from being a postman the next morning. Probably that's usually what it is.
Postman Jimmy.
And so we did that one last night, and it was good. First one back after like 18 or 19 months. It was exhausting. We seem to have put a new set together which seems to be like faster and more demanding than anyone we've ever done before, and obviously we're quite out of practice, but everyone said it sounded all right, and I think it was pretty tight, so hopefully it'll be even better tonight.
Faster and more demanding. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, honestly, me and Simon came off and we were like, I don't think I've ever been so knackered after a gig. It's possibly, you know, being 18 months older and, you know, having lost a certain degree of fitness over lockdown, maybe.
We all have. I'm the Stones. I'm just going to fall over.
Quicksand.
But we all have. Gosh, we did a gig last weekend, the Garlic Bread Club.
Oh, yeah.
And walking out of there, I was like, my back hurts. And what the hell? What happened to my stamina?
Yeah, I know. That's it. You just got to get back into it. I guess that's it, you know, just get back into it. But having said that, after tonight, we're basically in hibernation until the start of March. We're going to go away and basically make the new record, make a new album. It occurred to us that we haven't done a new full album since I think 2017 when Cherry Blossom Life came out.
Yes, you need to do that.
Yeah, we've got the songs. We're just still rehearsing them, getting them tight. You know, we've done a lot of split records and odds and ends, a few 7-inches and stuff like that, but we haven't done a full album in like 4 years, so we kind of feel like we nearly need to do that before we do anything else. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll come back gigging sort of in earnest from March really, which is in a way is good because my solo record's going to be coming out I think in April. It's going to have some digital singles leading up to that, so I might be quite busy, I don't know, doing bits of promo for that over the winter as well. So yeah, you know, it never stops one way or another. It might be that we haven't gigged for 18 months, but I certainly haven't stopped being involved with music and projects and doing all that. It's just what I do. I don't know how to do anything else really. So.
Well, that's it. You, I think, have been the busiest out of everybody I've seen throughout the whole lockdown period. Every time I turn around, James or KIBOU, something is new, something's new. And if anybody watching YouTube, go and watch James's channel. He's got some great stuff. You get to go behind the scenes, all kinds of stuff. So we will go there.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe.
I just want to say that I don't normally wear these shitty sunglasses. I just found them in the back of the car because I've left my other ones at the rehearsal space and I thought it might be quite sunny. So don't judge me on my appalling. Jesus, these are awful. They barely even stay on my face. But yeah, I can barely see out of them, but there you are.
You need sunglasses for a day on the seaside.
I do, and it is actually really nice. Look at it, blue skies. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in Hastings. Got all this lovely beachy water.
First time I came to Hastings, I was 5. We came on a caravan holiday with my parents. My mum tripped over one of my toys and tipped a kettle of boiling water all over my stomach.
Oh.
So that's my abiding memory of Hastings, really. Yeah.
And you still return.
Yeah, I know, it's mad, isn't it, really? To be fair, I haven't been back since we started playing here on and off for the last sort of 7 or 8 years, but yeah, that's my kind of, obviously that's quite memorable, even now. So.
Yes, definitely, I can imagine. Well, I look forward to seeing the faster, newer version tonight and hearing the new album when it comes out next year.
Thank you very much. Cool, nice to see you.
Good to see you. It's been too long.
Indeed, yeah. It's weird, isn't it, going out and seeing people now.
Yes.
The gig on Wednesday that we did, you know, you're suddenly in a room with lots of people and it feels kind of like, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do in this situation. It's really strange and awkward. Just for the first sort of half an hour, then it sort of all feels okay again.
Yeah.
But
I felt normal after a while, but yeah, that first
couple of beers in, I was fine.
Exactly. I think that happened with all of us, but even still,
Yeah.
in my I wear it in there
Yeah,
because
absolutely. Yeah, I've got mine in my pocket as well.
well,
yeah, so.
I'm right up front with the cameras.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody's projecting out, and if they unknowingly have it,
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? So, yeah, can't be too careful. It's not gone yet, so yeah.
Exactly. So, I hope to see you again soon, and thank you again.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Shelley. Cheers. I hope to see you too, sir.
Right, okay, this one's called Maximum Hell off the Split the Warfare.